Okay guys, today we're going to be dealing with this dog and the dumbbell retrieval exercise. Actually, before we touch upon the dumbbell, we're going to be working with the wooden dowel. This one here with one eye bolt on the end with a little leather piece. And then we have this other version with two eye bolts on either end, a strap or connector with a ring here. And usually what happens with this one, I will attach my little pull tab or lead. And this one we would use under a different circumstance where we're actually going to engage the dog's play drive. But we'll deal with that one later. Today we're going to basically work with the one single strapped dowel. And what we're doing is we're going to be teaching the dog today how to actually engage with the dowel. So we want him to show interest, but ultimately what we want is for the dog to take the dowel and to hold the dowel. So you may be asking, why are we using the dowel as opposed to the dumbbell? The reason why I like to use the dowel as opposed to the dumbbell simply because any mistakes that are made are limited to just the dowel, not the dumbbell. The dumbbell is the actual finisher. That's the last phase. So for now, we're going to use this and keep all mistakes limited to this. Like I said, today it's all about teaching this dog to actually go for the dowel. And all we really want is for the dog to show interest in the dowel. Do not jump ahead. Many people get overly excited. They want to see if we can get that dog to actually hold it. And then the dog's jumping and then we try it again and the same thing occurs. And before you know it, you could be teaching the dog the wrong behavior. So you have to have a game plan. Ours today is just to get the dog to show interest in the dowel. So I'm going to put these over here and then we're going to get started with Mark and Donnie. Get your dowel out. Now today he's using a plastic dowel and there's another reason for that, but we'll get into that at a later date. Okay, you ready? Good. Now, Donnie actually opened up his mouth and put it on the dowel. But that, you know, we're not gonna, like I said, try and get him to hold it. That's okay. We mark it, take it away, and reward it. And then we're gonna do the same thing all over again. We wait. Good. Even if his nose, right there. That's right. You don't wanna be too slow. You don't need a lot. Even if it's a little bit, like a millimeter. Try it again. Wait for it. Now, I usually give the dog, right, and you wait for him to move towards you. I'll give the dog at least 10 seconds before I take it away and then I represent. Bring it out. Now, part of the problem is he has the dowel too high. What I would do is bring it down lower. Try it. There you go. Very nice. Try it again. Now you see what's happening. It's becoming a little bit more fluent. The dog is slowly starting to put it together. All right. Give me like 2 more. Nice. 1 more. Perfect. Give him lots of praise. Give him a little break. Good boy. And so again, less is more. We don't want a lot from the dog. Right now, it's just for him to show interest. Now, to help him, by having it up higher, it almost induces the dog to look up at you, so he's not really putting it together. But if you bring it down lower, it tends to draw his attention to it a lot quicker. So you find his head will come down, and before you know, he's making contact with the dowel. Once again, even if it's just a little minute touch, and then take it away. If you follow the laws of shaping, less is more. So you ask for a little bit, and then progressively we build upon that. Now we're gonna do it again, but we're gonna try the other hand now, and let's see what happens. Nice. Offer. Nice. Beautiful. Wow, look at that, eh? Give me 2 more. 1 more. Great job and lots of praise. And you see how fast and simple it is for the dog to learn these things. What I find is with many handlers, they're in a rush. And that's a big problem in dog training. Everybody wants to rush to get to the end. When I started training back in the early mid-90s, we were taught basically you take your time. there's no rush because you only have one chance to lay good foundation. After that, you're spending countless hours trying to fix mistakes. And sometimes you can fix it, sometimes you can't. So why rush? This is all inducive. This is not like how I learned back in the day when I started Schutzhund back in '93, where we learned more in the way of the force retrieve. So the dogs were actually compelled to take the dowel. So there was a lot more pressure involved. But as time went on and the sport evolved, we've learned to use more in the way of inducive methods, more reward-based, and we found A, there was a lot less stress, and B, the dogs actually picked up, as you saw, really quickly. Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be corrections involved, but that'll come later. But the difference is the corrections, when they come, they're going to be that much less, or I should say, they're not going to be as great. And what will happen is the dog, he won't stress out. Because at that point in time, because you've laid so much good foundation inducively, he knows exactly what's expected of him. The corrections, all they do, they serve to help maintain a learned behavior. So unequivocally, this dog will learn that he has to actually hold the same way. And like I said, the corrections don't come until we get the dog to that level where he's actually initiating, he's reaching out, grabbing it, and holding it. That's when we're going to start to introduce the corrections. But for today, in regards to the intro for the dumbbell retrieval, first things first, we start with our dowel. And again, why do we use the dowel? So all mistakes are limited to the dowel, not the dumbbell. Today, the first class, what you're doing is you're getting the dog to show interest in the dowel. Now, for now, we're starting at about, let's say, maybe shoulder level. Eventually, you can bring it down lower. And then eventually, you can bring it up higher because by then, the dog knows exactly what's expected of him. And like I said, you start with one side, and then eventually, after you do several reps on one side, you move to the opposing side. And then you can have it where you come off the actual platform or come away from the platform and get the dog to stretch his nose. One of the reasons why I like to use the platform is simply because it gives the handler more control over the situation. Sometimes when handlers have the dog sitting on the ground, and some handlers like to work without the leash, now they're fighting, trying to get the dog to sit still, and it just interrupts the whole learning process. So why not have the dog up on the platform? Now you have total control and you see total focus from the dog. So it makes life that much easier. Also, make sure when you're teaching this behavior, like most behaviors, you are teaching it in a very quiet environment. Notice we're on the lower level of our training facility. There's not much happening down here. But the reason being is upstairs there are classes going on, other dogs, people, and so you'll find it's very hard for the dog to learn. So just like with all other training, start in a very quiet location. If you have access to a platform, teach the dog to sit on the platform, and that's going to make the training go by so quick. As you saw today, look how fast that happened. So we're going to be tracking Donnie's journey as he goes along, and we're going to see where it takes us and how fast he gets there. Our next step will be eventually having Donnie open his mouth like he did in the very beginning. Open the mouth, and we put it in, we mark and take it away. Open the mouth, put it in, mark, and then take it away. Progressively from there, we want the mouth open, but then close. And when we say close, it doesn't have to be an iron grip. Just simply on the dowel lightly. And then later on, we'll show you how we use opposition reflex to cause this type of behavior where he clamps down. I hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. Stay tuned. Like I said, we're going to be tracking Donnie's performance as we go along.